Nick, we were talking about in the break about the college wrestling coming up. Tell us what's going on with Rutgers.
So they have a duel tonight against Lehigh. Rutgers coming in at 13th in the country. Lehigh number 7. So it's going to be a big match. It's part of the NWCA championship duels. It's a dual series where 8 Big Ten schools host a it's kind of like a glorified end of the season dual meet. Rutgers actually canceled their meet with Drexel last night so they can prep for this. So it's gonna be a big match for them tonight. They were ranked. Rutgers was ranked as high as 6th this year, so they've done a tremendous job in their second year in the Big Ten. They were above 500 this year in the Big Ten. I believe they were about 5-4. They were 5-4 this year in the Big Ten.
Which is real big boy wrestling. I mean, you're talking about Iowa,
Penn
Michigan State, Penn State.
Michigan State had it down here. Rutgers actually shut out Michigan State this year. But Michigan definitely. Iowa, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Rutgers. Those are I would say your top 5 teams in the Big Ten, and then you throw in Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, and Northwestern. You just throw them all. You throw Purdue. Purdue was ranked this year. You throw Big Ten wrestling is just above and beyond better than anything else. Now
you're going to be at the Big Ten championships in New York City.
That'll be the NCAA championships in New York City over my spring break. Yeah, as a radio station, we should be able to cover that 3-day event. Hopefully, Rutgers will probably get about 6 or 7 wrestlers out of their 10 to the NCAA tournament. Maybe 2 All-Americans in Anthony Ashnall and Anthony Perotti, who are actually already. I mean, Ashnall was a freshman All-American last year, 141, and Perotti 2 years ago at 157. So I would look for those 2 guys to get back to All-American status.
How cool is that going to be for you covering the national championships?
It's going to be pretty sweet.
As a sophomore in college.
Considering I only really watch it, not exactly cover it, but I usually just stream it live on Watch ESPN and put about 8 screens.
Considering you were a JV wrestler as a senior, right?
It's a good joke. On and off, back and forth, in and out of the lineup.
In and out of the lineup.
I still wrestle on district, so that's what counts at the end for that varsity letter.
What do you remember about the districts when you were in it? What seed were you?
I was actually I was a 9th seed. That's why. I mean,
at what weight class?
195. I actually wrestled up 2 weight classes my senior year. Could not get the 170 spot. Then after dropping all the way down to 170, then couldn't get it towards the end of the season. So Kai has offered me too. If you want to wrestle in district, you can bump up to 195 because
bump up to 195. Take out some of the big boys.
Wasn't gonna take 8. I couldn't take 82 anyway. My buddy Eric was there, and he would have beaten my butt anyway. So I had to go up 195. I lost my first match 3-2, but other than that, I thought it's an awesome atmosphere to wrestle in. You're on one of the 3 mats, you got the whole gym looking at you, and if it's 3 mats out there, you got the whole gym looking at you. It's
who'd you lose to?
Some kid from Buna.
Yeah.
When they were still their final year in the district. Of course, giving up 20 pounds ain't easy, but other than that, it's a great atmosphere. I love this time of the year. It's a district tournament, region tournament, and states. State's obviously a little tougher because it's a boardwalk hall, but the district and region tournament is just awesome. You go into any high school gym, and then just the hosting job Gamby does for district tournament is just absolutely amazing. And then obviously everybody waits to the finals at night. Spotlights come down. It's an awesome atmosphere.
Talk about this year's District 32 a little bit. There's some really interesting weight classes. One that jumps out at me, obviously, is 138. Justin Bishop, 100-match wrestler at Mainland. He's the number 4 seed.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous to me, considering he had the injury coming off from football, so he missed some time. I think he comes in only at 13-0, so he's undefeated. But obviously we know the skill level he has. He was a district champ last year. Beat my buddy Kenny Kleshik from EHT in the district final last year. Bishop's been there, but he's got a few guys ahead of him. The 2 seed Callisto Kraus for Oakcrest, he was a district champion at 132 last year. He made a big run last year, and he's coming in at 20. He's coming in at 21-2, and then obviously you have Andrew Solomon of Cedar Creek, who's the number 1 seed. He's 29-0. He's also undefeated. He's been on a tear this year. He's a district champ 2 years removed since he had to wrestle Darcy last year. He lost the district final, but he won I believe it was 106 or 113 2 years ago. He won a district title.
That's got to suck. You go into districts and no Darcy's in your weight class.
Yeah, after bumping up a weight class. But then you look at it's Mason Belcher of St. Augustine. He's the 3 seed, actually ahead of Bishop. So you're looking at if the seeds fall into place, you're looking at a semifinal of Andrew Solomon, number 1, versus Justin Bishop at number 4. And you would think, I mean, any of these matchups could be a district final.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have Solomon and Bishop in the semis, which is that's probably how it's gonna fall. Solomon, Bishop in the semis, then you have Kraus and Belcher going at it in the other semifinal. Then you're gonna get a great final no matter what. But the way I see it coming out, I think Solomon is gonna take the district title. I think he's gonna edge out Bishop in the semis. And I think Kraus is going to be in the finals as well. I think you're going to see Solomon, Kraus, and Bishop as the top 3 coming out at 138.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more loaded weight classes at District 32.
195 as well. Is also
yeah,
loaded.
195. Talk about one of your boys, Connor Augustino. Really been wrestling great this year. He made it to Boardwalk Hall last year. Got upset in the districts, then came back and beat Colin Roberts, who upset him in the districts, beat him in the Region 8 final. What do you expect out of him? It's really those guys are so close in that 195 class, but it seems like it's kind of his district to lose.
Yeah.
He's been wrestling so well. He beat Roberts again this year, 5-0. How do you see that weight class breaking down? Can Colin Roberts jump up and win that again? I mean, that's going to be a pretty interesting weight class to keep an eye on.
He certainly is capable of winning again. I mean, look at the top 4 guys. You have Augustino, obviously number 1, Roberts 2, and then you throw in the 3 and 4 guys, Maury Ortiz of Atlantic City and Ryan Lind of the Prep, who actually won the district title last year at 195. Lind is the 3 seed, and the way I see it, I mean, it's obviously it's Augustino's class to lose. It was his weight class to lose last year as he came in. He was the top of the weight class last year. Then obviously Roberts came in and pinned him with 4 seconds to go in the semis. Then Augustino came back and beat Ortiz in another close match in the 3rd place match. Any of those 4 guys could win it because they're all going to have to beat each other.
Yeah.
Those top 4 guys I think are far and above the best guys in that weight class, and they'll be the 4 going out in the semifinals. You'll have Augustino going against Lind in the semis. If the seeds fall into place, it'll be Augustino and Lind in the semis at 1 and 4. And Roberts and Ortiz at the other semi. And Augustino has beaten all three of those kids this year. He pinned Lynn. He beat Ortiz. I believe it was 1-0. I mean, that's generally the match Augustino has with Ortiz. Ortiz is a strong dude, and Augustino kind of doesn't wrestle his match against Ortiz. I've noticed he wrestles Ortiz's match, which is kind of just brute strength, and Connor obviously barely able to edge him out there, but he beats him nonetheless. And I think after the upset last year, I think Augustino's kind of settled into he knows he can beat Roberts, and he's beaten him 5-0 twice in the last 2 meetings. So I would say he's got a handle on him, but it can go. Any of these guys can win the weight, but I see Augustino taking it, and then challenging, obviously going after a Region 8 title again, and then I'll see. I think Roberts and Ortiz are gonna be the other 2 guys to come out of that weight class.
We're talking with Nick Kosko here on the South Jersey Sports Report 97.3 ESPN. Nick's a former Egg Harbor Township high school wrestler, sophomore at Rutgers University. Has his finger on the pulse of South Jersey wrestling, keeps track of it all year. While he's up at school, he's doing some broadcast journalism study up there at Rutgers. So we wanted to get his take on the District 32 tournament, which is going to be happening all day today at Absegami High School. So if you want to see some great wrestling, head out to Absegami. Like we said, all day, probably semis around 2:30, finals somewhere between 5 and midnight. Who knows?
10, 2, and 5, I believe, are the sessions. I gotta rush over there after this.
Talk about one of the guys I'm really interested in seeing how he makes out is a guy from Absegami, Ben Maggio, who's a senior. Didn't really have a ton of experience coming into this year, but really got some confidence early in the year by winning the Marinelli tournament, and he's bumping up to heavyweight, I believe. Trying to avoid Jim Brady there at 220 from St. Augustine. But Maggio is an interesting story because he really doesn't have a ton of varsity experience heading into this year, and he's really gained a lot of confidence with the season he's been having. Do you think he's a guy that can make it out of districts and into regions?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to win at 285. It's definitely another open weight class considering Brady was wrestling 220. Jim Brady of the Prep, he was wrestling 220 at the beginning of the year. Then he bumped up to heavyweight, And then I believe just the way he looked at it for the state tournament, he dropped down to 220. He found he has a better chance there.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't sleep on Paul Valiant from Egg Harbor Township.
No,
he's having a nice season.
No, and I remember I wrestled Paul. He was my practice partner.
He's a big dude, man.
Yeah,
he's tough to get down.
He was my practice partner my senior year when he was just a freshman. He got a little district experience there. Then he took a step back to Tom McGrail last year, but now Paul, he's vastly improved. He is.
Yeah, I've been impressed with him this year.
He is far and above. He's so much better than he was in the last 2 years. Coming with a 21-10 record, he did a lot of stuff over the summer. I would not sleep on him in the heavyweight bracket. I still think Maggio's going to take it just because of he's been on a tear this year, even though he is bumping up. But I think he will have his hands full with Valiant, and you got to watch out for Michael Kennedy from mainland. It was all three of those guys kind of wrestled.
He's tough, dude. Football player.
Yeah, all three. I mean, Valiant didn't wrestle Maggio this year. Dietrich Trumbar, VHC, beat Maggio earlier this year at 220, and then obviously Maggio's coming up for the tournament here, but he only edged out. Maggio only beat Kennedy by a point, and Valiant only lost to Kennedy by a point too. So it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be in order. It's going to be Maggio, Valiant, and Kennedy. I think Valiant can edge him out. I mean, any of these guys could win the weight class, but I think those are your three guys that are come out of heavyweight. But Maggio's been on a tear, so I would say right now I think he's my favorite to win. But any of those three guys can win the title tonight.
Real quick before we go to break, kid like Tim Fitzpatrick from Holy Spirit, he have a chance to make it out of districts? I know that's a tough weight class, 145.
45. I think he definitely has a chance considering he got to the finals last year at a lower weight.
Yeah, he's been wrestling well. He had a nice victory during their win over Holy Cross.
Yeah, he's got I mean, 145 is not a tough weight class when you have Dylan Taylor, the prep, I think is the favorite. I think he's going to be the winner as well. Then you have you look at a guy like John D'Onofrio of Mainland, who's really improved year after year. He's 24-5 this year. And then you throw out EHT's Jason Kenzig. He was the surprise last year at 145, a 6 seed, getting some upsets and getting to the region tournament last year. These guys are the top 3 seeds, then you throw Fitzpatrick in there. So I would say you're probably going to look at most likely a Kenzig Fitzpatrick third place match to decide who goes to regions.
That would be exciting.
I think the whole way. I think it's going to be D'Onofrio and Taylor in the final, but I would say you're going to look at Kenzig and Fitzpatrick in the third place match, and either one. I mean, like I said, it's not one of those weight classes where any of those top 3 of those top 4 kids are going to make it. I think you have to look at it's another top heavy weight class. So any of those 4, out of those 4 guys, there can be any combination of those 3 winning the title, getting second or third place. But I think right now it looks like Dylan Taylor's going to take it. And as far as Fitzpatrick, I would say he's got a shot to even upset Taylor in the semis and even get to regions. But I see Taylor, D'Onofrio, and Kenzig getting out of 145, getting to Region 8.